edits, no mask, just truth in the air. Laughs in the room, real talk everywhere. Late night thoughts, say how we feel. This ain't for the fake, this is something real. Uncut conversations, new perspectives in the mix. Pull the curtain back, yeah. Time to drop the filter, listen close to this. Beyond the filter, we say it all. Real voices, no blue when the truth calls. We transcendence, don't mean Saint chest to pull up a seat, this one's for you. Beyond the filter, beyond the filter, where the real ones speak. Beyond the filter, where the real ones speak. Where the real ones speak. Yeah, yeah. Turn it up, let it breathe. No edits, no mask, just truth in the air. Laughs in the room, real talk everywhere. Late night thoughts, say how we feel. This ain't for the fake, this is something real. Uncut conversations, new perspectives in the mix. Pull the curtain back, yeah. Time to drop the filter, listen close to this. Beyond the filter, we say it all. Real voices, no blue when the truth calls. We transcendence, don't mean Saint chest to pull up a seat, this one's for you. Beyond the filter, beyond the filter, where the real ones speak. Beyond the filter, where the real ones speak. Where the real ones speak. Yeah, yeah. Turn it up, let it breathe. No edits, no mask, just truth in the air. Laughs in the room, real talk everywhere. Late night thoughts, say how we feel. This ain't for the fake, this is something real. Uncut conversations, new perspectives in the mix. Pull the curtain back, yeah. Time to drop the filter, listen close to this. Beyond the filter, we say it all. Real voices, no blue when the truth calls. We transcendence, don't mean Saint chest to pull up a seat, this one's for
Hi, hi, hi. How
Hey,
are you?
hey, y'all. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Filter with me and Dominique. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Make sure y'all click, share, click. What is it? Click, like, click, share.
Click like, click share. It just has a natural rhythm when you say it. Click like, click share.
Share. We have a very special episode for you guys tonight. Um, that's spearheaded by the one and only Dominique Sanchez. And she gave me an idea and was like, hey, we need to talk politics. We need to talk about things that's happening tonight and in this current administration, the thing that's going on in the world. I said that'd be a great idea. And then she said we need to bring people along. I said absolutely, let's do it. And I think this is be a much needed conversation and give you um, much insight on what's going on. We picked some of the most strongest people I know in that know things about politics, and I think this is going to be
Mhm.
very enlightening for a lot of people, even myself, because I don't follow it as hard as I should. So even me, I'm willing. I'm ready to learn from this group of people, and I'm so excited that they decided to do this with us. Me,
Yes, I'm very excited about it as well because as things continue to escalate, as you said, with this current administration and just with life's period, I think that it is our duty as leaders in the community to do anything that we can to help empower the people that we say that we love, that we can call friends or we call sisters, brothers, or whatever the case may be. If we truly are a community, we need to, exude that definition in every sense of the word. So I felt this was very important.
absolutely, absolutely. Hold on, okay,
Yes. Hi, Onaya.
keep talking.
But yes, but we do have some amazing people coming in to join us. I'm gonna do a lot. I'm gonna do a lot of asking, and I'm gonna do a lot of listening because just to hear their points of view. These are some young men that are leaders, not only in the gay community, but just in the world at large. And I just really feel that their voices need to be heard. And I think they come from different walks of life. So you're going to get various perspectives and their different thought processes as it relates to the political world. So please just engage with us. If you have questions, please just inbox us or just make a comment here in the chat. And we do have an agenda, and we're going to try to stick to the agenda because we want to be very respectful of their
Hmm.
time because they did take out some time out of their busy schedule to do
Yes.
this with us. It is my hope to do this on a more regular basis as they are available. I want to stick with this same um, group of people because as Trent said, they're very knowledgeable about
Hmm.
what's happening in this world and in the political world and in this country. So we want to make sure that you get a consistent message and not get conflicting information to where you become confused about what's happening around you.
Yes.
But I'm
Yes.
ready.
Yeah, me too. Um, Today we lost a great member of our community, and if we can just take a moment of silence for this young man who was definitely doing his thing and making a difference in the world, doing things on a big level, and his life was truncated. Um, and we just want to give a moment of silence for Cortez West. Thank y'all. And I'm just praying for his family, his friends, praying for peace and understanding. A lot of times we don't understand why this happened to the people we love and why someone's life is not as long as somebody else's life and why these different things has to have to happen. But it's all in God's hand. He get the rest. He not suffering anymore. So my prayers for peace and understanding for his friends and loved ones who is near and dear to him.
Yes,
And it's a big loss for the community. And we're sending much prayers, many, many prayers up. Okay. So
absolutely.
Um, you ready to get started, Dominique?
Let's get started because these gentlemen, they're professionals. They have to go to work, and we
They
want to
do.
get we want as much conversation from them as possible. Let's bring on the men, as Linda
Let's
Anderson
bring let's bring the men of the round table, baby. Let's bring in Del Rio. How you doing?
I'm good. How are y'all?
We're doing
We
great.
are
Thank you for being here with
wonderful.
us tonight.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it. This is a serious
Absolutely.
conversation, so I'm ready.
Let's do this thing. Let's also bring in Kendall. Hey, sir.
Hey,
Hello,
Listen, baby, you
hello.
how
guys.
y'all doing?
And
We
let's
are
also bring in
wonderful.
Wendell.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Howdy.
Howdy, howdy. Once again, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today for this very important discussion. But what before we get started, we would like to go around and just would like for you guys just to introduce yourselves. I mean, even though the public probably already knows you, but just give a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your background, and what it is that you feel is so important that people understand the political world right now. And we can start with you, Mr. Cole.
Okay. So I am Del Rio Cole for those who don't know me. I am a where should I start with this? I'm a therapist, mental health therapist, also a adjunct professor at the University of Kentucky, as well as Southern University at New Orleans. Work as a complex care manager as well as at Absolute Care here in New Orleans. So I kind of wear a lot of different hats. I'm a partner. I'm a father. Uh, a brother, a son. I think my mom is joining us tonight. She kind of supports everything that I do, even when she doesn't agree with it. But
Lord have
she's here with us tonight. I'm sure she agrees with everything we'll be saying tonight.
Hey,
Um,
Mom.
but
Thank
I'm
you for tuning in.
yeah, but I'm really I think for me, civics 101, man. I think that is one of the things that's missing in our community, and I think we have to start the basics and really get our community invested in just the basics of civics. And so I'm here to lend my voice, my experience, my education to that.
Wonderful. Mr. Keontae?
Hey, y'all. I'm Kendall Keontae. Most of you all know me from the pageant world. Uh, I'm a singer, songwriter, musician, performer on all levels. What else? I've pretty much worked in the political field, everything from a poll worker, poll watcher, canvasser. I've been a phone banker. I've worked for carpools. I've done pretty much every element of the election process that there is. Yeah, I'd like to say that election protection is probably my passion.
Okay. Mr. King?
Hello. So yeah, I'm a member of Impulse Group Houston. I'm the cluster leader for Impulse Houston, Dallas, DC, and Atlanta. I'm on the Mayor's Advisory Board, LGBTQ Advisory Board here in Houston, where I served for 8 years. And I'm also chairman of the Houston Coalition Against Hate Crimes here in Houston, where we work directly with Harris County Police Department and the City of Houston Police Department on hate crimes specifically. So as far as my civics, I just love what I do. I love fighting for what I feel is marginalized people. So whatever is marginalized, I'm running towards that to fight for. So I'm not just handicapped. I'm not dependent just on LGBTQ, but that is one of my main focuses, obviously. But I have a strong passion for Blackness, period, however that looks. So if it's LGBTQ, that's what I'm fighting for. If it's not, I'm still fighting. So that's pretty much what I do.
Okay, thank you. Doray, what we're doing right now is everyone is just introducing themselves to the people that are watching and just tell us why do you feel that having more of a discussion about politics is important in this moment?
Oh, First and foremost, let me say thank you guys for having me. I do apologize. As y'all see, I'm on the way to the cross-dressing function. So I'm about to go to, yes, you must cross-dress for less. So I'm on my way to the function. So I am Miss Black America Plus, and even before becoming Black America Plus, I became very politically incensed when Orange Ass ran for the first time, and I realized that we were getting ready for something that has been brewing forever and a day. And my biggest fight is because I'm in front of people at least 3-4 times a night. And because they listen to what I say, I make sure that they are politically aware, make sure they know the voting rights within our area, but more so paying attention to local elections. And let me say this to everyone, and I think you all may agree or disagree. If you think about it, when we were in school, and I think this was done on purpose, and I don't want to say a conspiracy theory, we were always taught to vote in the general election. They did not purposely tell us about the local elections, your senators, your congressmen, your representatives, your coroners, your sheriffs, all of this. So to me, personally, I feel, even going back to high school in 1989, I graduated in 89, they always said vote in it every 4 years. This is why you have millionaire senators, congressmen, representatives. You have so many people, under the table being paid because, again, they said to the Black folks, and I'll say us, they didn't teach us about the local election. They didn't teach us about the stuff that really made the most difference. So when I got to really digging in, I'm like, wait a minute, this is what y'all taught me in school, but y'all skipped over this part to just get me to this part. So now I everywhere that I go, and I'm asked to speak almost every bar that I work in, I make sure that I let everyone know that our lives are at stake. That's every marginalized group, but even more so, if they were coming for the people that didn't look like us, it was just a matter of time before we were going to be down the pipeline. Now that they have killed that white man and that white woman, now you have everyone upset. Well, we've been telling you for 400 plus years, this is what's going on. You want us to jump in? No. Use your privilege and you jump in. Because we already been sitting here fighting. We need you to get in here and do some fighting with us. We're going to sit it out for a while. Now, I'm not saying we don't care. I'm not saying that it doesn't matter. No. What I'm saying is we need you to use your whiteness to make a stink and a ruckus. We need you to do this now because us doing it done got us sprayed, water hose, bitten by dogs, shot at, killed. Now let y'all take some of them water hoses and a couple of little dog bites and a little mace and a little few other things, and let's see if we can. Because at this point, and I say it all the time, and if I'm wrong, this is a panel that I respect all of you all. To me, there is no. The only race for me is the human race. There are different ethnicities. And the ethnicities where we are separated also is what unites us because we're all different, the melting pot, if you will. But there's one race, the human race. And right now, this race is under attack. Completely.
It is under attack. And that's why these type of conversations is so vital for our community, not just our community, just for the world at large right now. And so that's why we thought enough to do this because we need some information. We need to get the people excited. We need to get the people ready to go vote and make a change. You know what I'm saying?
May I ask a question? And I'm asking because I'm getting ready to have to talk in front of my babies yet again. Can y'all give me the right words to say? Because apparently I must not be saying the right thing. Now, these MAGA Republicans and these criminals and this criminal corrupt administration has told you if they lose the midterms, many of them are going to jail and they're going to impeach him. Now, he done said this out of his mouth. Now, Mike Johnson and Steve Bannon said if we lose the midterms, we're going to jail. Can you all tell me what I need to say to make them understand they done told you if they lose, they're going to jail? Your only job is to make sure they lose. How hard is this? And so for those that are looking and listening, they call me the favorite auntie a lot of times, but I'm the auntie that also says, you like going to gay prides, you like going to bathhouses, you like going to sex parties, you like fucking and doing whatever you want to do. You don't get your asses in them damn polls and vote. you'll be sequestered to your motherfucking house, quarantined under martial law, you stupid asses.
Well,
There's
see,
no other way to say
you
that.
already
You
know
just
what
said
to
it.
say. You already know what to say. You have the
It
dialogue.
ain't working. It ain't
It's
working.
working.
Give me some other words. It ain't working.
It's working. And
Okay.
I know that
But we'll go ahead.
I know that Dominique
Go
has a
ahead.
series of questions we want to get out because I know you got to go real soon, Doré, and we want to start it with this line of questioning that Dominique has.
But yeah, but we're gonna get it. We're gonna get into all of
get
that.
to that.
But you know, but the really quick, just really quickly, the only thing you can do is just give them the information. What they do with it is up to them. You can't make people do anything. They have to be willing to make a change. You can't force change on anyone. At least, you know, you can say, I did my part. That's all that matters. Even with this conversation that we're having with with all of you intelligent people, whether people absorb the information and put it into practice, because getting the information is one thing, but putting it into practice is another thing. This will be up to the community to do, and they've got to want to do that for themselves. You know, this whole, how do we excite people? We're not trying to have sex with nobody. We're not trying to turn you on. We're just trying to give you some information so that you can make the life choices that you need to do for yourself. So the first thing that I do want to throw out there to you all is, you know, we can just go around and you can start wherever you want to start, is that how would you describe the current political climate in the US? And do you think that Americans are actually politically engaged, or are they just politically angry?
Angry. If they were engaged, we wouldn't be where we are right now if they were engaged. So I got to go with angry. And also what I've had to take in account, they gave you the playbook. That black woman told you what they were going to do verbatim. They've done everything. They're doing everything she said they would do. But let's be clear. He's doing everything he said he was going to do. He told you. So I think they're angry. They're not engaged. And to the Democrats that can make the decisions, had they played the very same game that the Republicans have played, we wouldn't be where we are right now.
Correct. What do you think, Kendall?
I would say that they're definitely angry. Like Doré said, they're definitely not engaged, or they haven't engaged up to this point. I think that when they initially stated that they wanted to make America great again, that spoke volumes. And many people didn't understand what that meant, but it meant taking us back to Jim Crow era. It meant taking us back before we had the Civil Rights Act and things of that sort.
Oh, go ahead, Kendall.
Oh, that was pretty much it.
Okay.
I know we didn't have a lot of time, so I just wanted to answer the question.
No. Put. We're gonna throw the bones out there. You put the meat on the bones. You take whatever time, because listen, I want to do this more than just one night. So if we don't get to everything tonight, we're coming back again. We're going to do what we feel is right for our community, and once again, we're going to give them the substance, and they can apply it as they need to.
I think the thing that is starting to spark their engagement is the fact that you have two people that have been impacted by this, and they thought that they were exempt from everything that was going on. And now, because of the rogueness of this federal organization and their will to try to do whatever they have to do for us to lose midterms, we're here now. And so that's where all of this stuff with ISIS come in. And then when you think about how Pam Bundy basically blackmailed Minnesota, telling them, like, if you want us to leave Minnesota, then give us your voter rolls. That tells you a lot right now. They're currently seizing the ballots from Fulton County in order to, try to, I guess, steal the election, as they call it. So I think that's what is causing them to now wake up, and they're so against woke culture, but now it seems like they're the ones who are finally waking up because it's hit home for them.
Okay. King.
Wendell.
Mr. King.
Can you hear? He probably can't hear us.
Can you hear us, Mr. King? Okay, go ahead.
I can
Mr.
hear
Cole.
y'all.
Oh, you can hear us. Go ahead, Mr. King.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you now.
Okay. I was just saying that I think that the most part people are frustrated. I don't think that it's as angry. I think they're confused, and I think they're frustrated because they're getting so much news from so many different outlets, and I think that social media has added to that confusion because they don't really know who to trust. And so they just grab whatever's out there. So they just run with it. And it creates a confusion and a frustration that I think is the real problem. I think that what Ken said for sure in Fulton County, what's going on is they're literally trying to reverse 2020. You know, that's why they went
Mm.
to Fulton County to force them to give them the ballots because he's still trying to prove that he should have won 2020. So we're playing this reckless game. And I think it becomes so confusing. And I think that the sad part is that the Republican Party has sat there and allowed this to happen because they are so hungry for power that they're not even realizing that they're destroying the government. And their power. It should have been the Supreme Court should have been Congress should have been stopped this. This is how Watergate actually happened. Right? Republican, hey, you need to get out of here because
I
we're
think your
about
connection
to
is
unload
messing
on
Yeah.
up.
you. And because you're Republican, we're looking for you, so get out. This Republican Party is saying, okay, we're going to lay down and let Trump do whatever he wants because we want to make sure
I
they.
think he needs to connect to his
So I
Wi-Fi.
think that
Wendell, can you connect to your Wi-Fi? Something you're freezing up really badly.
Hey guys, they're about to start.
okay,
I'm
yeah, I
hosting
can
the
do that.
show. I will check back in if you guys are still there because this show lasts maybe about 30, 45 minutes. If you guys are still here, I'll log back in. If not, thank you for having me. I'm definitely whatever you guys need, wherever you need me to be. Always know that I'm there. Just remember Thursday nights from Thursday to Sunday, I'm normally dressing up. But other than that, I just want to say thank you guys. I love and respect all of you.
We love you too.
I know that the one thing Benny said to me, we have to concentrate on the 90 and don't worry about the 10. And what you said, Dominique, resonates with that. So, like you said, we can provide them with information. Now, what you do with it is totally up to you. But we would be remiss if we don't do our parts. And I love the fact that everyone knows that we have to do our part. That's all we can do.
Yes.
I'll check in with you guys again soon. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Okay.
See you later.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you later. Okay, so Mr. Cole, go ahead and same question, sir.
Dominique, can you give me the question one more time? Sorry.
Yes, absolutely. So the question was, do you think that Americans are politically engaged right now, or are they just okay? Well, actually, what is your take on the state of politics right now? And do you think that Americans are politically engaged, or are they politically angry?
Yeah, I think I have to agree. Agree that I think Americans are angry. I don't think there is um, the level of engagement that I think. Yeah, I use I statements pretty often, so because I want to be
Hmm.
very careful. Um, I don't think that Americans are as engaged at the level that they need to be engaged. Um,
Hmm.
I do see, and I think this is what we have to be very careful when we make those statements. And I'm that's why I'm kind of uh, rolling slowly into what I feel, because I think we have different levels of you know different circles of influence, right? So we have our family members that we may talk to on a regular basis. We have social media. We have the people that we work with, our our coworkers. For some of us, we have students. So we have to be very
Hmm.
careful when we make those generalized statements that, hey, yeah, I don't believe Americans are engaged. I do believe that some people that I encounter and that I engage on a daily basis are engaged. I have students who are
Okay.
very much engaged in the political process. They're engaged in what is going on. They're online, they're speaking out, they're at protests, they are lobbying. So there are some people who are doing it. I think we all have a place in this movement.
Okay.
Everybody's not going to be the activist. Everybody's not going to be the protester. Everybody is not going to be the lobbyist. So I think we all have to at some point just find our place in the movement
Hmm.
and
Absolutely.
really dig in, because I think when we don't do anything, that it gives off complicity, right? When we don't do
Yes.
anything, we're a part of the problem. But I think if we do
Mm-hmm.
something, I think a fire
Hmm.
starts to burn. And as that fire starts to burn, it may be just because it is trendy. That's fine. If we get somewhere because it is trendy to protest, I'm fine with it. I think
Yes.
we need to have intention when we're doing it. I do believe that. But I think if the
Yes.
fire starts because it is trendy, because people see others out there protesting and they're enjoying what they see, I think that's fine. Let's get people involved, and but I do think
Yes.
generally people are really angry right now because they don't understand what's going on. Because we
Mm-hmm.
were tricked, as Doree was saying. I mean, that resonated with me 100%. I graduated high school in '97, and I remember as a child, I was 5 years old in kindergarten, and I remember my teacher at Gus Elementary School here in New Orleans just constantly talking about presidential elections, never bringing up the gubernatorial elections, never
Mm-hmm.
bringing up a city council election, never talking about anything like that. But I think that was because at that time we really lived in silos. So if you lived in New
Hmm.
Orleans, your city council, more than likely, the seven of them were all Democrats. So we didn't have too
Okay.
much intra-party, conflicts. And so I think they just didn't focus on that. When we were growing up, Louisiana had a Democratic governor, two Democratic senators for a long time when I was a kid. And so I think, you know, yes, I do think that this narrative was pushed for a reason. It was intentional, but I also think it was because we were in silos at the time, and there was not too much of political friction inside of different states where they felt the need to do that. But now we're in a different place right now. We're in a different place where our federal government is literally trying to crush some local and state governments. Our federal government is telling us what we're seeing is a lie, right? They're telling us the things
Hmm.
that we're seeing with our eyes is a lie. And I think people are rightfully angry. I think our job as, activists, as uh, advocates, as uh, you know, teachers, our job is to help the people translate that anger into
Hmm.
activism. It's our job to do that. And so that's why I'm here tonight.
So, Mr. King, you got cut off in your thoughts, so I definitely want you to finish your thoughts. But Mr. Cole, in his explanation, he had also brought up engagement. So, when you finish your thought, I want you to speak about engagement and with the people that we know that we're dealing with on an everyday basis. What are some of the methodology that needs to be used to try to get people engaged? So go ahead and finish your thought on the previous question, but let's talk about engagement and how do we engage? Because we know what people say, oh, y'all are using politics and y'all are being elitist and all of that type of thing. So how do you best communicate with people that you don't come off as someone that's a know-it-all or you're looking down on anyone? I know that's a lot to throw at you, but I'm sure your brain can dissect that really well.
Well, the first thing I want to apologize because I'm not at home. So I
Okay.
had to get on their Wi-Fi because I'm at a friend's birthday dinner, da da da. So I'm in her
I'm
bedroom.
sorry to take you away from that. I'm
No, it's
sorry.
okay. So I had to connect to her Wi-Fi. So I apologize. But I don't know where it left off. But the main thing is on the other part, I think people are just frustrated and they are annoyed and they are confused because there's so much quote unquote news coming from so many different angles. And so people just kind of get confused because on one level they're hearing that this person is Nicki Minaj is da da da. Then on the next level they're hearing that Kamala Harris is trying to run for president again. Then on this, so they're getting confused because they're being immersed in all of this news, and no one knows what to believe anymore. So I think
Mhm.
that's on that part. And someone sent me a text to remind me to say that I am Mr. Diamond of the South. I'm sorry I didn't say that earlier, but I
Yes,
was like
definitely.
sticking with.
Congratulations, King.
Thank you, but I was
Congratulations.
sticking with the format, but I guess when Don Ray said Black America, somebody texted me and said, you didn't say your title. I'm like, that's not what we're here for, baby. But as far as engagement, I guess pageantry is a good sector, a good way to transition that, right? Because I think that we do have to deal in silos, as Dale talked about briefly, but that's really it. Those small silos is really how you connect the largest, because we're so indirectly connected to each other, right? So those small conversations create larger conversations, because each person will go out and become weapon. They will have the shield of education so that they can share it with someone else, and then they can share it with someone else. So that's the first thing, is that we have to understand that these small conversations are more important than what we think, because we feel as though we're talking to the choir, as they say, but the reality is the choir can put out an album and it can go viral. So we have to make sure that we are understanding that these conversations are important. But the next thing is understanding the power that we do have in pageantry, ballroom. Our LGBTQ college campus is ballroom and pageantry. That's how you get the most information to the most amount of people. So when you hit utilitarianism, the greatest good for the greatest number of people, that's when you actually infiltrate. Right? That's when you can really serve the greatest punch. So the club scene is great, pageantry is great, ballroom is great, but how do we actually engage those individuals is more important. So there's this saying in the communication world that it can sound insulting, but it really is real, right? It's called KISS, right? Keep it simple and stupid, right? And so people get offended by that, but it's really real, because no one wants to feel like you are forcing something down their throats. So you want to make it as easy as possible for them to receive it, so then they can go out and they can share it with someone else. So when we do that, that means, for example, we don't go on stage at a pageant on final night and think the crowd want to hear a 10-minute lecture on civic duties to vote. Right, that's not how it goes.
Yes.
But it's as simple as putting on the screen a QR code and saying, everyone scan this. And if the first 50 people that scan this, we're gonna do da 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 da. When they scan it, it will give them the education they need. Outside of that, having vendor tables, those little things give the education we need. But when you get people when they're intoxicated and you think you're gonna preach a sermon to them, that's not engagement. You're wasting your time. So we just have to be more innovative with it. We have to be more creative with the things we do, and we need to consult with these nonprofits, and we need to put fire under their asses to make them do the work. When I first came out, when I was 18 and 19, in the clubs, nonprofits were there passing out bags with condoms, lubrication, not allowed, right? Those same nonprofits need to be there passing out voter registration, voter tools, things that you need to know, what's going on in your community, not just nationwide, what's going on at the church in your area, what happened at the school last year. Nonprofits can do that because they're getting monies that says that they have the right to do it. They can't tell you who to vote for, but they can tell you how to vote. They can't tell you a name of a person that they are endorsing, but they can endorse the ability to vote. So all of those things are just engagement ideas that we can play with.
I love that. I absolutely love that, because we always want to say, or as you may, well, no, y'all are probably all too young to remember. But if you remember, title holders were the spokespeople for the community. That's what they did. They were the ones that started going on Ricky Lake and Donahue.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be the voices for the people that did not have voices. And I don't think that very many title holders are doing that anymore, because now it's about popularity and how much money I can make, and it's not so much about what they can do to better serve the community. So with that being said, so do you feel that there needs to be a conversation with pageant promoters, with these title holders, about what their role is as it relates to being a leader in the I'm asking whomever wants to pipe in. That do you think it's time for us to sit down and have those conversations about what we should be doing as leaders in the community? And whoever wants to jump in.
I think so.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I definitely think I think that each one of them can have their own way of doing it. Everyone doesn't do the exact same, but I definitely think that it is necessary.
Yes. Thank you. Okay. I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
Mr. Cole, did you have
I'll
something you want to say?
yeah, I'll say this. I'm honestly, I'm so well, I'm not gonna say I'm so far removed. I'm far removed from competing in pageantry. I've since I stopped in 2012, I've been judging since then, but I'm kind of removed from the competition part of pageantry. But I'll say this: I think that we all should be ambassadors in our own way. Like I was saying earlier, we
Mhm.
all have, our own way of um, of executing, um, this this weight that we carry. We all have
Mhm.
our way of executing this thing. And
Yes.
I think yes, it would be advantageous for maybe the pageant promoters if that is something, just put it out there to them if that is something that they're interested in, to have that conversation with them. Because I do think, yes, at the end of the day, the representatives are those who carry the platform, but I think the promoters should be carrying the platform too, right? I think the
Yes. Yes,
promoters
sir.
should be out there with their mouthpiece just as much, because a lot of these promoters predate many of their kings and queens. A lot of these
Mhm.
promoters were kings and queens of the pageants that they currently own. You know what I mean? Years ago. And so I think it's important that not just the king and queen see themselves as leaders, but that the king and queen can see the promoter as a leader in the community as well, and maybe they partner, and maybe that's a part of the platform of their system or whatever regional area they're in. And so I think it would be smart to do it, but I think it has to, I would, of course, it's on a voluntary basis, but I would make sure I put it out there that it's voluntary, because what we don't want to do is ostracize anyone who may not feel that that's
Mhm.
the lane that they can travel with their system. They may not feel like that's the lane that they can travel with their system. And so I think it's
Mhm.
just being, them being honest, saying, hey, I can't do this, but these things over here I can do, and I'll do it in this way. But I may not be able to join like this group, and we're out there, talking about this, as we're traveling the country or whatever, for whatever reason. I don't know what that reason would be, but that may
Yes.
be something that they're not willing to do. So I think yes, that conversation should be, had with leaders like yourself, Trent, Wendell, and Kendall. Y'all are there. Y'all in the thick of it. And I think those
Yeah.
conversations should be had for those who are interested in it.
Thank
And
you
you
so
know
much.
what?
So, go ahead.
It's about the education of it all too, because a lot of people, you would be surprised talking to people how uneducated they are as it pertains to just their life. I remember talking to a guy about a month ago, and he got angry with me and hung up the phone. And it's hard to talk to people because sometimes you would get into it with people because you just can't change stupid sometimes. I remember this guy telling me that Trump meant, to your point, Ken Dodd, we said MAGA making America great again. He said Trump meant take when bread was $1, and going back to days when gas was just $1.50 a gallon. And I'm just thinking like, man, Trump ain't never had a problem buying anything. Here's a man that when he turned 18, his daddy gifted him $1 million. I don't even know nobody with $1 million, like a close friend or anything. So that's not what he was talking about. So we owe it to ourselves too to educate ourselves on these kind of matters and stuff, because it's happening to our community. It's been happening to us for a very long time. The word gets out when it starts happening to other people. Now everybody feels affected. So the education of it all. And I think we got to be patient with the people too, because they will make you angry. They will make you want to choke them out, right? Because some people just don't want to get it because they think they know it all. But we in dire need. Something has to happen. Something has to take shift
Yeah.
in this political climate, because it's affecting everything. It's affecting my jobs. It's affecting all kind of people's jobs. These organizations, it's affecting it. So we have to keep getting the word out. Even as people, we feel like they don't want to hear it. Even if they give us pushback, we still got to get the word out so that they know, listen, we got to vote, y'all. We got to get on these midterms. We got to do it all. So we can't get weary in this outreaching that we're doing.
I think I'll just add this one thing. I think it's important that we recognize. I remember this growing up in the church. My spiritual journey has changed a lot from when I was a young person. But I remember growing up in the church. One of the things that my pastor used to really talk about is soil, right? What type of soil are we planting our seed in? And I think a lot of times we have to kind of understand and be able to read the room and understand who we're talking to, and we have to understand at what stage of change is that person. We have a theory in psychology that talks about the stages of change that we go through. And that first stage is pre-contemplation. That is a person who is not ready to even discuss, or they may not be even be aware that change is needed. And I think a lot of our community is in the stage of pre-contemplation where they're not aware of the change that is needed, because the system itself has crushed them so much that they're worried about the next meal, how they're going to get, gas money to get to work the next day. And so people can't really get out from under that enough to be able to get to the point where they're breathing and they're able to even process what politics is, because the system has crushed them so much. And so I think it is important to understand the soil that we are sowing into, the people that we are talking to, and understand, as Trent just said, giving them grace, because a lot of people are struggling right now. A lot of people have a multiplicity of things that are going on that will prevent them from even getting to the point where they can receive some of the stuff that we're talking to them about. And then once we get them to the point where they can start to at least contemplate, right? And that's the next stage, getting them to contemplate this stuff. Their readiness changes. They're at that point where we can start tilling the soil, we can start planting, we can start watering, right? And if we don't ever get to that point, if we don't really understand the people we're dealing with, I think we never get to that point. And so I think it's incumbent upon all of us to understand our audience, understand our surroundings, those that we're talking to, those that we may have influence with, and understand how to talk to them in a way that they're most receptive to the things that we're saying. Because some people are just not going to be receptive. I heard you say at the beginning, Dominique, the way that we talk, the way that, discussing how we say things so that people won't think we're elitist. At the end of the day, there are going to be people who are going to think we're elitist just because we have education, just because we speak well, just because we refuse to go into certain rooms with certain people. People are going to think we're elitists just because of that, and we won't be able to stop those people from thinking that, right? But as I heard someone else say, I think it was Wendell, I heard say this: if I can reach one person, and then that person reaches someone, and then they reach someone, I've done my job. I'm not going to win the masses. I already know that. We're set up that way, right? We're set up inside of a community that has endured communal trauma, who have gone through personal trauma and historical trauma. And so I don't really see, a platform where, we speak to someone and they just 100%, gather behind us and follow us. There are going to be those who are going to follow us and those who won't. And we just have to be strategic about how we're reaching out to those folks.
Oh, great. Thank you so much. So I kind of want to go backwards a little bit and let's talk about the road to where we are. So let's reflect a little bit back on the 2024 presidential election. And so my questions to you, and there's three involved, y'all please forgive me. This is almost like a baked potato. I'll put a lot of toppings on it. Do you think that the Democratic Party made some missteps that caused us to lose the election? Do you think that they treated President Biden with the respect that he deserved? And do you think those missteps put Vice President Kamala Harris in a bad position as she took over the campaign that caused us to get to this place where we are? If somebody would love to just elaborate, share some thoughts on what you think about how that went, how we handled that moment, because what we know, the whole switch up happened because a almost 80-year-old man had one bad night because he had been sick, had been traveling extensively, had been, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, had been running the hell out of this country, did a lot of positive things. He makes one misstep and it seems that all of that was forgotten. So what are your thoughts about that? And once again, I'm just saying, do you think that the Democratic Party made some missteps? Do you think they mistreated President Biden? And do you think that they put Kamala Harris in a very bad position in having to start the campaign when she did?
I'll say that I do think that the Democratic Party did make some missteps. And that major misstep was not reading the room. I believe that if we didn't give Vice President Kamala Harris an impossible task, and if the reins were switched over a lot sooner and she actually had time to campaign, like that, the results could have been different, even though we were energized and we were excited that we had, Kamala Harris that was going to be, running for the actual presidency. Now, it still was just like us versus everyone else having time. We were playing catch up at that particular point. I think that the writing was on the wall even from 2020, when Hillary Clinton ran. I feel like we had already been fighting for a younger agenda, not even just the agenda, but just the switching of the guards. And it felt like the powers that be just wanted to remain in control, wanted to maintain their power instead of them taking the reins and passing them on to someone else. I believe that if we had been intentional about showing a younger generation that we were looking to move forward and acknowledge some of the issues that they have, meet them where they were, that we might have had a better turnout in terms of Democratic participation in those elections. I believe that one of the main reasons that we did not have that turnout is because a lot of them felt isolated. A lot of them felt excoriated, from what we were saying to them and how we were speaking to them. That goes back to us being able to meet them where they are. I've heard a lot of feedback about how the Democratic Party never comes around until it's an election cycle, which is why it's important for us not to just talk about these things when we have elections that are coming up, but for us to make sure that we're doing our due diligence to make this a daily conversation. When we make it a daily conversation, it's like Del Rio was saying, we begin to plant seeds, and it may not be it may not be my responsibility or what I'm assigned to do in terms of tilling that field or watering that field or putting some fertilizer on that seed in order for it to go and flourish into the knowledge that we would want them to have. But by us making it that daily conversation, what happens is you hear it from me, and then you go online and you see something else about how Nicki Minaj, is going against everything that you stand for in your existence. And so eventually these people will be like, you know what? Well, maybe they do have a point. Maybe, it's not them and it is me. Then we also have to understand that in this generation, we have a lot of people who just like to troll for clicks and views. So we're countering false information on a daily basis. That news travels so much faster than the truth. So again, it goes back to us making this a daily conversation. I do believe that they definitely made those missteps. As far as Kamala Harris is concerned, I believe that she is the most qualified woman who could have been in that position at the time. How many elections had she lost since then? Up until that point, I don't believe she lost an election. So, but the fact of the matter that she was a black woman, that was in itself. As far as the respect for President Biden, I think it's just easy for people to focus on the negative as opposed to focusing on the positive things that he has done. Most people, like, we sit and we watch, podcasts and news coverage, and we educate ourselves and make sure that we research extensively to understand these things. Even though we may have an understanding, a general understanding of some things. Some things we actually have to do our due diligence to go and research to see what are the actual facts. How did this person vote? What does this actually mean? And a lot of the times people don't have the capacity to do that. They don't have the knowledge to do that. They don't even know where to begin. So it goes back to what we were saying about the pageant promoters being able to do more. Some of them don't have the capacity to. And I think, again, that's where it falls. The responsibility falls on us to be intentional about taking advantage of every opportunity that we have. I can remember when I won Duval, the question was this year at Duval, we've decided to switch things up a bit. You asked the question, tell us why you asked the question, answer the question, and then tell us why you gave that answer. That was another opportunity for me to get that message out there. And I went straight political, and I was like, well, what are some of the things that are facing, what are some of the pressing issues that are facing our community at this time? And to summarize it up, I basically stated that it lies at the center, at the intersection of homophobia, transphobia, and like, if we don't get out and like vote, exercise our rights, then we may not be able to enjoy spaces such as this, which is another thing that we hit on earlier today. So again, it's about making it a daily conversation. It's about, just standing in the gap and speaking up when we can, being intentional about that. And, that's pretty much all we can do at this particular point.
So,
Thank you.
so I have a little
Go ahead,
different
Go ahead,
opinion
Mr.
there.
Kane. Go ahead,
I
Mr.
think my
Kane.
opinion is a little different, but it's going in the same direction. And before I even start, I want to make sure that everyone understands. I'm passionate about politics, so it's never it's never anger. It's really just passion. If it goes, I'm just saying. But I want to first touch on what Dale talked about earlier, because I want to be sure that we all understand that each one of us on this podcast right now is in protest every single day. Every day that we wake up, we are in protest. When Dominique walks into her office, she's in protest for trans women. When Trent goes on set, he's in protest for gay men that may not look like what they want gay men to look like in that sector. When Ken does his singing and his poetry and he's doing photography, he's in protest. When Dale walks into a classroom or academician setting, he is in protest. So we don't have the luxury of sitting back and saying that we're not political. We don't have that luxury. That luxury is gone, right? Harriet Tubman, well, they say that Harriet Tubman said that she freed 1,000 slaves. But if she had the ability to help other people understand they were slaves, she could have freed 1,000 more. So we can't stop fighting, and we can't stop pushing people to do it because we don't want them to feel somehow that no, we have to figure out a way to make them. So that's lazy civics when we say we should not force it. No, we should force it, but we have to figure out a different way to force it so that we can bring them in and attract them. But we should not lean off of it, because they will be the ones that will come back 5 years later and say that we failed them as a people because we did not do enough. So I just want to make sure we put that out there, because if my mother would not have told me I can't eat candy all day, I would have ate the shit all day. But she had to tell me in a certain way to make sure I understood you can't eat that damn candy all day. So we have to do that. But what you were saying about Biden, I don't think that the Democratic Party made any missteps. I think Nancy Pelosi, Schumer, and Hakeem Jeffrey made some mistakes. And I think that we have to start calling people by name rather than blaming an entire party. Right? Because when we say, well, the Democrats only go to churches and barbershops and stuff when it's time for elections, everyone does. That's what the Republican Party does also. It's not just the Democratic Party that does this, right? So the funny thing about elections is everything that Kamala Harris did, had she won, we would have said that it was exceptional, it was beautiful, it was amazing, it was jaw-dropping, right? But when you lose, oh, it's terrible. No, sometimes the shit just is what it is. And it's okay to say that it was a setup. First off, Biden should have been president. He's the only person that has proof that he could beat him. That's number one. You can't argue history. He's the only person that has beaten him, right? Had Kamala Harris had more than those 90 days, they would have had more than 90 days to trample over the same things that we were ignorant to in 2019 and 2020. So that's the reality of it. I think that Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, and Hakeem knew that what Biden planned on doing was winning and then resigning, retiring, and giving it to Kamala Harris. and they simply did not want her. And so I made a post then that said that they were willing to slice their nose to spite their face. They played in the faces of everyone because they did not want Kamala Harris, and they got what they wanted. They just did not bank on it going back to Trump. So I think that is the real conversation. Did we do an injustice to Joe Biden? Absolutely, in my opinion. We made him feel as though he was less than and he was going to die at any moment. Mind you, this man is still breathing, but we made it seem as though he was going to die at any moment because he was competing against a guy that would have been in the 9th grade when he was in the 12th grade. What kind of dumb shit is that? We literally used an ageism argument on a man that was in high school with the same man that was competing against him. That's how ludicrous we were during that time. Away from that, as Dominique stated, yes, he had a bad night at that debate, suffering from the flu, and he had just traveled from Europe to Atlanta, right? He was 80 years old, behaving like an 80-year-old, right? But when Donald Trump was sober, was in good health, he stood his ass on that stage and said, "Can't we drink bleach to cleanse our bodies?" But we want to harp on the fact that Joe Biden had a bad debate after traveling from Europe with the flu, but we say nothing about the guy that's 3 years younger than him that was completely aware of what he was saying when he looked at the scientists and said, "Can't we drink bleach?" So we have to take responsibility also, because we played our parts in these small conversations of challenging Kamala Harris's race. How ignorant is that? Challenging her education. We literally let Donald Trump tell us that she was not educated enough, as though he has an actual degree that was not purchased at Wharton Business School by his daddy, right? We allowed these things, but it reminds me of the Mueller report. Because when the Mueller report came out in 2017, he said that Russia chose the Black American community to use because they knew that we were the easiest target that will fall prey to it. In chasing Roger Stone was Donald Trump's right-hand man. Chasing Roger Stone on Netflix, Roger Stone bragged about the fact that he told Donald Trump, if you tell them the same lie over and over again, they will start to believe it. And every single thing that they did came true. So rather than us trying to figure out who shot John, we have to start holding ourselves and our community responsible. It's not just the young Americans that we have to worry about. We have to worry about the middle age and the old, right? Because the reality is the middle age, 35 to 47 are your number one voters. That's for a reason. So at the point that you say, I'm going to lean into 18 and 19-year-olds and I'm going to lean off of that major group, you're taking a big chance. You're taking a huge chance. So what we have to do is we all have to become political pundits in our own circles. We can't wait on them to send someone to CNN, because guess what? The average LGBTQ person is not watching MSNBC and CNN. They're waiting on Ken to make a post. They're waiting on Dominique to make a post. They're waiting on Trent to say something in his comments. They're waiting on Dale to go in the classroom and make a comment. That's where you really can connect to the most people. But if we sit and we rely on mass media to educate the average person, we will be in the same place in 2028. Trust me.
2028. Yes, and what I really love is that you did call names. You were very specific about who were the orchestrators of this happening, and I really like that. And because of what you said, I think that that was a teaching moment for me, that we do have to just stop calling things out as a blanket, like you said, of the party. We've got to say who the actual perpetrators were, who committed the crimes, and who we need to be prosecuting for what happened. So I really appreciate you saying that, because that challenges me to be more intentional about what I'm saying, so that people know directly who to be looking at. So I think that.
But do you think that Biden should have stepped down earlier so that Kamala could have just took over as president? So it could have been, so we could have saw his work, because I felt like I met Biden when I went somewhere. I went to the Capitol with Yolanda, and we went back there and took a picture with him, and he looked like he was frozen time, and it looked like that they hadn't charged him up for the day, like they left him off the charger, right? And I was saying to myself, like, this man is sick, or something is wrong, because let's be honest. Shouldn't these presidents age out, or these people that's in politics, shouldn't they age out at some age? Because we up in 80s and you know, they one bad flu will take them out of here. You know what I'm saying? Like, shouldn't they age out at some point?
Can I respond to that? Let me say this, and Dominique, if I get a chance, I'll go back to the road.
Absolutely.
But
go ahead.
I'll respond to that by saying this. I think first of all, the way that we view politicians, I think we're flawed in the way that we view politicians. Number one, when a presidential candidate goes to a debate, I think it would be advantageous for the country to see the president and the people that he believes would be a great cabinet for him all there together, right? Because the president may be making these decisions, but if you are the Secretary of State, if you are the Secretary of the Interior, if you are the Secretary of Agriculture, if you are the Secretary of Defense, you are the one who is you have, if this is an issue related to your particular department, you're gonna be the last one to speak to him about that, right? And so I think a president can be 80 years old. I mean, we're seeing an idiot in office right now who is basically there, right? He's not making these decisions. You have Stephen Miller who's making these decisions. You have Russell Vaughn who's making these decisions, right? You have Tom Homan who's making these decisions. So I think it's the people around them that we really need to be hearing from during like these elections and things, because at the end of doing these campaigns, because at the end of the day, they're the ones who are going to be enacting policy, right? Law is one thing, that's for the legislative branch to handle, but policy is something different. That's for those department heads to handle. And I think if we approach it a little different, like because Biden couldn't do any of this all by himself. He couldn't. Kamala Harris could have been president. She couldn't do it all by herself. Trust and believe Barack Obama was the president and he made decisions, but he did not make those decisions all by himself. He had a Valerie Jarrett there with him, right? He had a Joe Biden there with him. He had people who had experienced that he never had. He had people who had experienced these different departments inside the government for years. Susan Rice, who has been in national security for over 30 years, who sat next to him, who the Republicans would not, they would not even take her up for a vote to become Secretary of State. But you have people like that who are around these men and around these women who are the experts in these different fields. And I think if we took that approach from the very beginning, which is why I always say I think there should be, we need to just break this whole thing down, this whole democracy we have, and start over. Just trash it and start over. Yes, I know it's going to be a huge undertaking, but we need to just trash it, because from the beginning, it has racist roots, it has a racist foundation, it has racist pillars. So at the end of the day, right, we're living in a house of racism, a house that oppresses us. And so I think if we just trash the entire system and start over, we will be doing ourselves some justice. Back to the road of what we got here, I think as far as the Democratic Party is concerned, the Democratic Party made mishaps over 30 decades ago, in my opinion. When we abandoned the 50-state strategy, which is the strategy to go to every state and try to win in every municipality in every state, that's when the Democratic Party started to make mishaps. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, that's a symptom of what we haven't done and what we stopped doing in the past. And so I think that's what we really broke down when we decided that we were not going to go to Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, which is the center of Black populations in this country. You come to New Orleans. I mean, you're talking about 75%, 65 to 75% black folk in this city. That's not counting liberals or democratic leaning folk in this city who are non African American. You go to Baton Rouge, which is the capital, it's the same demographic. You go to Shreveport, it's a little less, but a close demographic. You go to Lafayette, those are the four big cities inside of Louisiana. And the Democratic Party, and that's who we're talking about. So, Wendell, I totally agree with you. But at the end of the day, I made a note. Dems and Republicans, they all do this going around during election season, right? We criticize the Democratic Party because that's the party we're a part of. I criticize my party, just like I used to say about the church. Nobody's going to stop me from criticizing the church and pastors who lead people astray in the church. Why? Because that's my choice of religion. Christianity is my choice of religion. So I'm always take the opportunity to criticize my choice of religion, right? I'm not going to criticize a Muslim. I'm not going to criticize someone who's Buddhist because I really don't know their religion the way they do, right? But I know mine. And so I feel the same way about Democrats. I'm not saying I'm going to criticize my people to the point where I give the other side ammunition to be able to take them out. But I do feel like I'm going to criticize my people to the point where I think we start to refine ourselves. We start to redefine ourselves, right? And so I think it is important that we understand that, yes, Democrats and Republicans both only show up during elections. But I don't care if Republicans don't show up during elections because I don't align with them morally. I don't align with them personally. I don't align with them financially. So I could care less if they show up. Biden, which is why I didn't understand this, Biden had a bad night, right, for that debate. But so did Trump when he debated Kamala Harris, and this country still elected him, right? So I really don't understand like that if a person has one bad night, we throw them out, right? Because if you look at Biden right now, just let's be honest about this. The pressures of the presidency, we see it how it weighs on people. We saw Barack Obama go from this very, very handsome black-haired man to this very, very handsome gray beard, gray haired man, right? In 4 years, he started to change drastically. We started to see wrinkles. We started to see different things. You know, there's this time lapse that shows it. And so I think it weighs on everyone that this person is the leader of the free world. And so it weighs on them. So yes, I do think Biden, had a lot on his plate. But like Wendell said, I think that he was the only one positioned at that time to win. And we should have stayed the course. Just because of that one bad night, I don't think we didn't change. But I think there was a lot of calls from the gatekeepers, as you called their names out. I call them the gatekeepers inside the Democratic Party, who felt like, yeah, we need to go ahead and change because the perception was this one thing. There was a perception that he's old, that he's sick, that he can't go on. But then, put Kamala Harris in this situation where she has to come up with this quick campaign, and we already knew she had the wind, that was blowing against her, right? She's a black, a black and Asian woman. She's black and Asian. She's a woman. She was a prosecutor at one point, and then we listened as black men. We listened that 12% listened to what the Trump campaign. I said it right the first time. The Trump campaign said about this woman prosecuting black men. Yes, she's going to prosecute black men. She prosecuted black men who were criminals, but she also prosecuted white men who were criminals and Hispanics who were criminals. But we allowed them to feed us this propaganda, and I think we do it often. We allow these people to feed us this propaganda, and these people are
So why are we
skilled
so easily
at
persuaded?
communication. Say
Why
that
are we
again?
so easily persuaded?
Because we lack emotional intelligence as a
Intelligence, yeah.
people. I think that we, as black people, we've been conditioned that way. Like it started with slavery and it just worked its way through, right? But we don't trust. And so because we don't trust, they feed off of our anger because that's our easiest emotion to connect to is anger. So when they do something or say something that makes us angry, they have our attention. But I do want to say that I call it the single woman, the single mother syndrome. When we talk about Republican and Democrat, we forget that the president becomes the president of the United States. So I do understand the idea of holding people accountable that are most connected to you, but the person that becomes the president ultimately will have the power to wield against all of us, not just the Republican side. And I tell people all the time, if you ever look at Fox or Newsmax, it's a complete different ball game than what happens on MSNBC and CNN. That's why it's been going viral for the last 2 days that they're finally pissed off that there was another person murdered in Minnesota, and they talking about it on Fox News because of his race, right? And so now they're mad, and so they went against Trump. But one thing that I do believe that they get right is you have to understand how to win a game. You talk about what went wrong after the game, but during the game, you have to talk about how we're going to win. One thing that is clear is one of the reasons Hillary Clinton lost against Donald Trump was because Bernie Sanders did not play with her for the primary. And so Donald Trump used every single thing that Bernie Sanders said in the primary to beat her over the head in the national election. So what we say does matter. I'm not saying that you don't hold them accountable. That's the job of advocates and activists, right? That is their job. But when we are having conversations with people that don't quite understand politics, we can't beat up mama because she was the only one there and give daddy a pass because he
I
was
agree.
absent.
I
But
totally
then
agree.
we make it to the NFL. We want to cry and build a relationship with the man who didn't give a shit and say, well, mama created so much trauma, looking over the fact that she had trauma because she
Yep.
was trying to figure the shit out by herself. The Democrats do all of these things, playing with this Rubik's Cube to make the Latin community happy, make the black community happy, make the LGBTQ happy, make black women happy. They do all of these things, these songs and dances, and no one ends up happy. Meanwhile, the Republican side is over there saying, we don't give a shit. All we're going to do is talk about how the Democrats don't give a shit about them. And
Yep.
it's going to work. And it literally works. We told them to tell us that we need to demand from Joe Biden a black agenda when we had a whole black president that we didn't demand one
When
from.
demanded from right.
It's just, it's just crazy.
And Wendell, can I just say this right quick? I think what we don't, I think a lot of times what we don't understand is that when we look at the Democratic Party, and this is the difference between the two parties, the Democratic Party is a coalition party. The Republican Party is an ideological party. Those are
Absolutely.
two different things. So when the Republicans speak, they can speak and throw out red meat to their people because they all have the same ideology.
Yes.
When Democrats come together, you're actually bringing these puzzle pieces together that at any other time don't fit, and we're trying to make this fit in some kind of way. So that's why I always say when you have a Democrat who is the leader of the party, we've had Democrats before who were not leaders of the party. But
Yeah.
when you have somebody like Barack Obama, when he was elected, the reason he won is because he was not only the elected leader, he was the moral leader of the Democratic Party. He was able to draw all of those coalitions together and get black people and LGBTQ people and Hispanic people and Asians and those who are disabled, get them all together to see, hey, there's a common thread here, y'all. And we need to hold this together. We need to hold this line. And so I think understanding that it's a little easier for us to then see if we understand that it is no easy feat for a Democrat to win and to hold his coalition or her coalition together. It is no easy feat. Republicans, a lot easier because it's ideology for them. They don't care about, that's why it's easy for them to always accuse us of identity politics. It is not identity politics. It's us holding coalitions together that in any other space may be totally contrary to one another. But in this political space, we have to hold this thread together so that we can move forward together.
But I would just add that Barack Obama also won because he was a black heterosexual man that encompass massive masculinity. And so the protect black men syndrome is what helped him also with Rock the Vote. And it will behoove us to understand that he is the opposite of Kamala Harris, but she was treated like shit while he was treated like gold. And so I think that that is an important conversation to have, because Rock the Vote, it made him win Florida the first term, which was something that no
And
one saw
Indiana.
coming.
And
Right.
Indiana.
But Florida was big because there was over 50 electoral votes there, right? And
Mhm.
no one saw it coming. But it was because he didn't have a resume that said he should have had that type of support. So it was definitely the protect. I'm not taking anything away from Barack Obama, but I'm just saying that he won with no resume, but because he was a black heterosexual man, and that was easy on the eyes, America joined together to fight for him, and the hip hop community definitely came hard. But where was Rock the Vote for Kamala? So we have to be, that's why I said we have to hold ourselves accountable, hold our own people accountable, because we have to ask
Mhm.
ourselves, did we do enough for the black woman? Because we were the ones that
Mhm.
was creating TikToks. Black women were creating TikToks saying she ain't black. Black men were creating TikToks saying that she put away all these black men like she was the police going out and handcuffing folks, right? So we have to say,
Mhm.
ask ourselves, what did we do wrong? Not what did the
Yeah.
Democratic Party do wrong? What did we do
What?
wrong on a civics level so that we don't repeat it again?
Yeah.
So okay.
And, and, and,
So
and,
sit
and
with
before
you.
you go,
Go
Dominic,
ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go
Like,
ahead. Go
like
ahead.
at times though, let me tell you something. Just somebody looking, I voted for her, but at times it felt like she was taking a knife to a gunfight, right? So the things that fucks me up with Democrats is they want to do everything by the book. These people wasn't playing by the book no more. And the thing about Barack is Barack instilled some type of hope in us. Yes, we can, right? So people was feeling like, okay, we got this. There was moments when I didn't feel like we had this. You understand? Like when he was going there, follow his ass, hold him to the fucking fire, get in those fucking debates, and let he had done enough shit that she could have choked that motherfucker with his own bullshit.
But I don't
You know
think
what
the
I'm saying?
debate. I don't think the debates is where she didn't fight, because I think in the debates she was.
She
She
definitely
No,
killed
but
showed
it.
up.
people still
She
felt
showed up
like
the
she
way
didn't
she
do
needed
enough.
to. In the
But the people
debates,
that was
she
not
did.
informed, sometimes people want to feel like they're being fought for. You
Yeah.
know,
But
and
Trent,
we
you're
got this
right.
we got this thing in our head where we think somebody's gonna save us, right?
Yeah,
And the thing that Trump did was he made the white people feel like he was going to save
he
them,
was their savior. Yeah.
and
And he
some black
did.
people too, and some black people too. Like,
Mhm.
oh, I'm about to give y'all $2,000. Oh, I'm about to give y'all. You remember I gave y'all 1,400, right? You remember I did this. It was that type of thing. But I don't think that people felt like she brought a big enough weapon to go toe to toe with him,
But
and
that's why
that
these
that
conversations are
But
important. That's why these
do you
conversations are
think?
important.
But do you think? And this is just a question as a woman. Do you think? Well, trans woman, but still a woman. Do you
Mhm.
think she was trying to toe the line because she did not want to be labeled as the
You had to.
Absolutely.
angry,
You had to.
miserable black woman?
You
And
had to.
because they started to do that to her,
Yeah.
and because you remember when she
but
first
they
came
label
out,
her as
she
everything
was
else.
she was shooting from the hip, right? But then when those attacks started coming at her, she kind of pulled back, I feel. So do you think that she felt that she had to, do a high wire balancing act to where people did not label her as this black bitch that thinks she's all that. Look how she's acting. Look, see, she's
Angry
just
black
as
woman.
ghetto as we
Yeah.
said that she
Angry
Well,
black
she
was,
was
and
too
she
educated to
she
feel like an angry black
but
woman.
but 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 when it comes to us, let's be very clear.
Yeah.
When it comes to black women, it doesn't matter
There's a
what
different
level of
standard. That's right.
education that you have. You are always gonna be labeled as low IQ, a
Yeah.
ghetto ass bitch, a bitch with no class.
Yeah.
This what you want? And
Absolutely.
do you want to send this bitch over there to Europe to speak on your behalf? Look how she talking about. She couldn't attack him like he was attacking her, because I'm telling you, it would have been detrimental. Because look at all the
But it still end up
memes
being
that she.
detrimental. So did we? Why not
She
try
had
it?
74 million votes. I think people forget that she had 74 million votes, guys. Like she didn't just get taught, they didn't just stomp on her and
Oh,
spit in the face. Like she
yeah.
got
But it still
74
feel that
million
way.
people believed in
But
her.
it still feel that way.
No, but here's the thing. Being Dominique is 100% correct in my opinion. Shirley Chisholm, she was called an angry black woman in the 70s, right? That's why she did not was not taken seriously because how dare this black woman with this accent have all this attitude with her dark ass skin, right? Barbara Jordan, they wanted her to just talk everywhere, but when soon as she said that she was ready to run for a real position outside of Congress, they started calling her a lesbian, a stud, Bush, all of these things. Hillary Clinton, 2008, when she ran against Barack Obama, they said she was too aggressive. She was too tough. They wanted her to be the grandmother. They wanted to show her with her daughter and her grandbaby when she went against Trump. They said, oh, well, now she's not hard enough. But this is what they did. Kamala Harris, when she was running against Joe Biden in 2019 for the primaries, when she had the audacity to stand on stage and tell him that she was one of those girls that was sitting on that bus that he was
Mhm.
messing with, right? They said
Yep.
that she was being a nigga, right? So I think that I get what you're saying, and I agree with you, Trent, that I wish that she could have been more aggressive and came at it harder. But the reality is, had she done that, it would have hurt her even more
More.
because they
Yeah.
are always ready to shoot the black woman and say that they are doing too much, including black men that are intimidated by the strength of a black woman.
So she
So
Yep.
didn't have a
she
fighting
had to
chance.
do that.
She
So she
didn't.
didn't have a fighting
Mhm.
chance. She was
Let's
damned if
be
she did,
honest. She
damned if she
didn't.
did.
She did not have a
Her only
fighting
chance
chance
was Joe Biden winning and passing it
and
to
giving
her
it to her.
after the win.
Yep.
Passing it
That
to
was the only
her.
way.
Yes. Okay, so great. So now that we're talking about strong black women, let's parlay into Jasmine Crockett, right? And let's talk about the rising stars of the Democratic Party. And do you think that she's been given the support that she deserves as she's navigating her way through this political machine? Because we already have, in particularly, for the Senate race that's happening there in Texas, we already have a lot of black people speaking down and against her and her chances to win there. So what are y'all thoughts about her in particular? Because I'm a JC woman. I love her to death. But then what are y'all's thoughts as it relates to the rising stars of the Democratic Party? And do you all feel that there needs to be a change in leadership and what role do you think
Wendell,
some of these rising
Wendell,
stars
I
play?
wanna give this, I wanna give this to you because that's
Texas.
your state. But I just want to say this right quick. I think one of the things that I think we make a big mistake as black people, and we did it with Barack Obama. Black people gave Barack Obama a look, they winked at him, and then they waited for white people to then say, "Oh yeah, he's good enough," and then we ran. And I
Okay.
think that's the problem.
Hmm.
Jasmine Crockett is dealing with the same thing against Tallarico right now. Like I think black people are looking at her and they're saying, "Hey," now the majority of black people are supporting, but there are other black people that she really needs who are looking at her and saying, and then they wink. They're waiting to hear from white people that they can trust Jasmine Crockett because we can't trust without getting the trust of white people to get behind a candidate. But go
Oh
ahead,
my
Wendell.
God.
I
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
You,
Ooh, Lord, you
I'm
you
always,
sprinkled a little salt on this. Me. Oh my
my
God. Go ahead,
mind is
Wendell.
always ghetto. So I
Go
wanted Jasmine
ahead.
to sit her ass down with the Congress and run for Congress and win that again because that's where I feel like
Say
we
that
need
again.
her the
Okay.
most.
agree.
So
Okay.
I
Okay.
that's the first part. I think that I think this is going to be one of those things like Ken was talking. I'm going to have to agree that 3 years from now we will say this was a mistake,
Okay.
because I think that she has accidentally fallen into the 1960s era of advocacy when the government started
Okay.
giving them jobs and they forgot to fight because they started getting paid by the system they were supposed to be fighting against, and so I
Mm.
think that Sister
Mm.
Jasmine has become a celebrity, and I think
Okay.
that her celebrity is what motivated her to run for Senate because she's looking at her political history, her legacy, right?
Mhm.
Because in Texas, we've not had a black senator from Texas. So this would be
Mm.
a huge stepping stone for her if she wins. But I still see it as slicing the nose to spite your face because now we're taking a
Mhm.
big chance because you're running for a seat that has never been won by a black woman or black man. And away from that, you're running for a seat, giving your seat now vulnerable for another Republican to come and win that seat over because of the rezoning that they're gonna try again. They lost this last time to the Supreme Court, but now they will try again and they will go back in smarter. So I think that she gave in to celebrity, and it makes me
Okay.
sad because I was rooting for her, and I really like.
Yeah.
I've had the chance to meet her a dozen times now, but and she
Yeah.
really is an authentic girl. I really like her, but she is a girl of a different background than the average black person. We don't like talking about
Okay.
those things, but there is a truth there. You know, she come from a very well-to-do family, and so I think that she could have used her platform in a better way. My
Okay.
fear is that she will go into a Senate if she wins. She will go into a Senate where her vote still won't matter because they still won't have the
Okay.
majority. And my other fear
Mm.
is she now put our seat in Congress that has always been cemented for a Democrat could now possibly go to a Republican. And we know that there's been a paper thin difference between the Republican and Democrat in Congress for the last two terms. So
Okay.
this was not the time to take the risk. So I
To
just
take
don't
it.
know if the reward was worth it.
So I
Okay.
the
Okay.
only thing I'll push back on, Wendell, I do not believe that if she wins, she will be going into a Congress where her vote does not matter because Democrats will not have a majority. I'm of a total different belief that this coming election, that Democrats will take both the House and the Senate. I know that is it. That may be pie in the sky for a lot of people. It is not pie
Mhm.
in the sky for me. I think Susan Collins is going to lose her race in Maine. I
Mhm.
think Sherrod Brown is going to come back and win the race in Ohio. Um,
Mhm.
I also believe there is a big possibility with the Senate race in Florida. You know that may look a little different. I just really think that some the way the map looked maybe 4 or 5 months ago, the map doesn't look that way. And yes, it can change 4 or 5 months from now. But I think currently, if we're judging what she would do, and let me just say this: they win it or they don't win it, right? We can't say that her being in the Senate really doesn't count. We got Fetterman in the Senate right now, and guess what? His vote counts a lot of times because he votes with the Republicans, right? And so that's one vote, that's one senator who makes a lot of noise for the other side. And so I do think that her being in the Senate, I do think she would, and I totally agree with you that maybe she should stay in the house for a little while. I do, right? For those reasons that you just spoke of, I cannot speak on Texas politics. I can speak on national politics, but I can't speak on Texas politics. I think you know that a lot better than I do. So I think she should stay in the house. But if she's there now. We're past the point where where she's made the decision to go into the Senate. I think, you know, I don't think she's going to win. I don't think white Democrats in Texas are going to vote for her. I don't. I just don't feel that at all. But I think if she is to win, I think she will be a formidable voice inside of the Senate, and I think there would be some good that can be done from that one seat.
I know that from watching some interviews with her, that her strategy seems to be for her to galvanize and engage non-voters or people who don't generally participate in the elections. So I'm
Mhm.
kind of throwing this back to Wendell because I know that the district that she's in currently serving was a pretty safe district for her. And I guess my question is, do you feel that like her strength has also been made to be her weakness because she's been in that safe district and she could speak out in ways that other Democrats who were in, you know, more swing state districts or districts that could have gone either way had to kind of toe the line. So she was the one who was kind of pushed to the forefront to be the voice for the Democratic resistance, so to speak. Like I guess Like, what do you think about that? Like, do you think that she still has a chance of winning? I believe that she could, but you're there,
I think
and
anything is possible. I think anything is possible. We've seen magic happen in politics before, and I do think that
Mhm.
there is an energy around her. You can't erase the fact that there is a huge energy around her, and I'm pumping for her. I'm gonna fight to the end. But do I personally would I bet my money on her? No, I would not. I think that in Texas, unfortunately, we are in a very weird place in Texas. People like to talk about Florida and they ignore that Texas is normally worse and no one pays attention to it. But there are 232 counties in Texas. Out of those 232 counties, only five are minority led, right? And so people
Mm.
like to think because Houston, Austin, Dallas, San Antonio are Democrat, like, oh, they should be taking lead. Well, no, it's 232 counties. Texas is huge, right?
Yeah.
And unlike the black community, when white people go out and vote, they wake everybody in the house up. We go and
Mhm.
vote. Whereas the black community, where I may go, but oh, that line was too long. Oh, I was late for work. So they don't think the way we think. And then away from that, she's from Dallas, right? Dallas just had their
Mhm.
black, the previous black mayor there switched from Democrat to Republican 2 years ago. And she
Mm.
became the person that the Democratic Party trusted in Dallas. So there was an opportunity for her to run for mayor of Dallas because they galvanized behind her and then maybe set her up to run for governor of Texas. So I think it's all about possibilities and lanes.
Mhm.
In Houston, our Democratic Party just literally stripped our mayor away from the Democratic Party because he kept siding with Trump out of fear of not getting money from the Trump Foundation, you might as well say, right? So there is a
Mm.
possibility and an opportunity there. So what I'm saying is that I love Jasmine, but I think that she got so caught
Mhm.
up in the celebrity of it that she did not think about the people. She thought about the power. And that is my fear
Mm.
because we need to think about people. And I do think that there is a ability. We do have the chance to win the House and the Senate. I don't think we don't,
Mhm.
right? But
Okay.
because history says that we normally, whatever the president is, normally the opposite party normally wins midterm, right? But what we saw during Joe Biden's year is that didn't happen, right? So
Yeah.
there's a chance
Yeah.
that it may not happen again. And so what I'm saying is it worth the risk in this
Yeah.
moment? Is it worth the risk? We know you would have won that seat in Congress, but we
Mhm.
don't know if
Mhm.
you'll win this seat in the Senate. But we also don't know if a Republican would now take your seat in Congress. So I just don't know if it weighs out correctly.
but
I
if
don't
it's
know.
about her, if it's about her seeing a power dynamic, I like. Okay, so if she's looking at it from a power play, like, do you? I mean, I guess I'm kind of seeing it a little different. Like, maybe they're pushing her because our goal is to try to flip the Senate, and she's maybe our best shot at that because she has the name recognition in Texas.
Well, they didn't push her. When you say they, I'm assuming you're talking about the Democratic system, the Democratic power, right? They didn't want her to run for Senate. The Texas Democrats wanted her to run for Congress. So it
Okay.
wasn't the Texas Democrats that wanted her to run for Senate. It was the bigger powers that be that showed her that we can take you and make you our Martin Luther King. Like we can do
Mhm.
this for you. We can make
Mhm.
magic out of you. We can AOC you. And that's what she's banking on. But look at AOC. Because a couple of years ago, they were saying that AOC was going to be the next president of the United
Mhm.
States.
Yeah.
But we've not heard nothing about AOC in quite some time because the system is two-faced. Because it will
Mhm.
always run to a man before it leans on to a woman. So you're taking a
Right.
huge risk. But the smart thing that AOC did was when they tried to get her to run for Senate and she was ready, but then she said, nah, I'm gonna sit here for a little more time
Mhm.
so I can get this together. So sometimes it's better to just say, I'm gonna sit out this year. I'm gonna go and let Trent win the pageant. Okay. Because I know for a fact that they want him and he done got his money and he done got ready. So I'm gonna go and sit it out. It's smart to do that sometimes. Sometimes it's better to say, this is not my year. I'm gonna take my time and get ready for next year.
Yeah, no,
So it
I
wasn't.
agree because I think in 32, AOC is a shoe-in for Senate.
I do too.
Like, I mean, the
A shoe in.
demographics are gonna change. You're gonna have new voters, and that's her strength. The new voters who will be in the voting pool. Then 32, she's a shoe-in. So Schumer can make plans to retire by
Be bye
32.
bye. Yeah, I agree. I
so
100% agree.
That's smart.
so what do you all think that you, so as we're approaching the midterms, what do y'all believe that, because you always hear people say that that we have a problem with messaging. We have a problem with, galvanizing our base. So what do you think that, we as a party need to do to regain the trust of our base? Because a lot of the different parts of our base feel like they're being used just to get you in, but then once you're in, we don't feel that you're here for us. What do you guys feel that they need to do? First of all, what is the message that you think that they need to use going into 2026? And then also, what do you think needs to be done for them to regain the trust of their most loyal base, which is primarily us, but because we always pull it out for them every election. So what are y'all's thoughts on that? What needs to be done? If you were, let's pretend that you are the advisor, they ask you your advice, what do you recommend that we do moving forward? Give your pitch to what you would say.
I think that we need
Whoever
to
wants to run
personalize.
first.
Pardon me?
Go ahead.
No, I said whoever wants to go first.
Okay. I think that we need to personalize our messaging, and as opposed to us trying to just generalize everything so that everybody will fall under the bandwagon or get on the bandwagon for the same purposes. Like, a lot of people are single issue voters, and when we take it back to a grassroots effort, and you tell someone, you talk to someone, I talk to someone, we go and we door knock, we do canvassing, and we talk to each individual based on what their needs are, where they are. You can tell a lot of that just by where people live. A lot of the time. So we have that particular information. That's how we do when we go out canvassing. And we target those messaging to that particular messaging to those people. If we're going into a gay function, then we're talking about, loss of access to health care. We talk about, the violations that they've basically done when it comes to trans rights. We talk about specifics that relate to the individual as opposed to us being so general in our commentary towards them. It goes back to just meeting people where they are and talking to them about things that are relatable. What may be an issue for you may not be an issue for me, because like you said, the Democratic Party is a coalition tent, and it takes too much to try to please everyone. You do too much for the Asians, not the black folks mad. The black folks complaining or are upset with moves that Trump is making, and then you got the Venezuelans who are cussing out the black folks because we are against everything that's going on, but they're cheering because they have a different interest. So I think that if we really just, again, make it relatable to the individuals as opposed to trying to speak over everybody's head, because even though we all need healthcare, everybody's not concerned necessarily about healthcare. Even though the economy is bad, some people don't care about the economy because to them the economy has always been bad.
That's it.
Right.
So we have to, again, meet people where they are and stop trying to generalize everything. We can have our general talking points for the news and things that you talk about in debates, but just getting down to the real and the raw with people and letting them know how these decisions that they're making. And then the other thing is us using examples of things that Trump has done, things that this Republican Party has done that directly impact or affect their lives.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Who wants to go? Next.
Well, I agree with everything that Ken said. I think that they need to continue because they started doing it in the last election, but investing in social media influencers. I think that that is going to be a huge deal in moving forward. So they started doing it, but they need to invest even more money in those influencers. But I think they need to also make sure that they're educating those influencers so that it goes beyond just one little PSA. I think that they also need to go to the churches. I think they need to do what people get tired of them doing. You got to do it because remember, that is your number one voting pool of those people that are in that church. They're the ones that's going to get up and go get in line, right? So you can't forget about them.
Mhm.
But I think they also have to lean into these 10th and 11th graders, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
10th and 11th graders will be voting, when it's
That's it.
time. So you have to lean into them and start making sure that you are encouraging them to understand. Doree said it earlier, how there was a lack of education when she was in high school, but there's still a lack of education on the importance of voting. So I think that that will be also important. But these shows, like this podcast, are when Ken gets pissed off and go live. All of those things. That's important. We have to continue to do that. And then the beauty of that is those pundits should find their way to shows like this, right? To say, I
Yep.
want to come on this show and
Yep.
talk to that community specifically, because
Yes.
that will create another energy for that candidate and it normalizes and it makes them human, right? So I think that all of those things are necessary if we want to win. I think that we also have to remember that people are not as dumb as we think they are. Sometimes you just have to be straightforward and tell a person, stop the shit, right? I had a
Yeah.
friend telling me that, oh, look at it, the prices of gas, right after he invited me to Mexico for his birthday party. What type of shit are we playing here? So I had to tell him, you
Mhm.
full of shit. You having a destination birthday party, but you're crying about the price of gas? So
Yes.
what
Wow.
what what is going on? So you have to have direct conversations because we have to be clear that there's a difference in showing grace and enabling someone.
Yeah.
So we like
Okay.
to say we gotta show grace, but if you're showing grace is not educating them on anything, you are part of their problem, not their solution. I would
Hmm.
rather you get pissed off at me over being honest with you and
Yes.
you learn from it than you tell me you love me so much and you get killed the next day.
Mm.
So we have to
Mm.
start having those honest conversations in these silos.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Mr.
I'll
Coles, do you
just
have something to add?
Yeah, I'll just add, kind of echo some of the sentiments. I think nationalizing messaging is important right now, right? Making sure that we are releasing representatives, senators to basically go into their areas and speak to the issues of their areas. Because everybody doesn't have the
Mhm.
same issues. The things that we're going through in the second congressional district of Louisiana is not what they're going through in the 17th congressional district of Texas. These are two totally different
Mhm.
areas with different demographics and different issues, right? Our local economies are different. And so I think being able to release those who are running for those offices or who are running for reelection to be able to speak to those issues, even when it does not agree with the national party. Let's just be
Hmm.
honest. Some of the things that we we may experience here in the second congressional district of Louisiana, it may not be in agreement with the national party because all politics are local, all right. And so I think that's important. Number two, let me tell you, we gotta go into those, and I'd written it down, Wendell, when you said it. We gotta go into those churches, those barbershops, and those salons. We gotta get in
Mhm.
there. And we can't visit churches on Sundays when they're in service.
Yeah.
Politicians need to stop that. Stop going to churches on Sundays during their services. Let those people hear from God or do whatever they're gonna do, pray, intercede, give their tithes and offering, or whatever. Find a day, have a town hall at the church, invite the people who want to come, and you just keep going back. The
Yeah.
one thing I love about Representative Ilhan Omar is that she has a town hall once a month. Every month, she has
Yes,
a town hall in Minnesota.
she
Every
does.
month. And so I think it is important for us, in our influence, in the influence that we carry, to maybe do that. As churches, can we come and have town hall meetings to hear
Mhm.
from people? We're not coming here to indoctrinate anyone. We're not coming here to spread anything. We want to hear from people. We want to hear what you have to say and what you're feeling and what you believe. And I think if we
Mhm.
start doing that at churches, barbershops, and salons, then we really start getting to the core of how our people feel. Because it was those guys in those barbershops, if we remember right from the media, who were the biggest critics of Kamala
Yes,
Harris.
they were.
That's where the critics
Yes.
were. And so I think at the end of the day, that's where we go. We go there to hear the issues. We go there to now. Let's be honest. Wendell, I love your candor and how honest you are. Right? Let's be honest. Some of these people are not going to want to hear nothing you have to say because it's already baked in. It's baked in. What they feel, what they believe, it's baked in. It's just what it is. And so I do know that is a thing, but I do think we should still try. We should go there and try and see, if we could break through the fog, because I think a lot of our community is in this fog right now. And so I
Mhm.
think breaking through that would be great. Like taking maybe taking pageants. I'm telling you, I was telling someone this the other day. If pageantry really, if pageant promoters talk a lot about money and they really want money, and they really want money, sponsorship for their pageants,
Mhm.
get with some of these pharmaceutical companies and some of these other companies who will give you money to do certain little small things, like maybe in a 30-minute intermission in between your pageant, having a panel discussion about certain things, maybe political things, right? I understand that may not be something that the audience may want, but it's
Mhm.
something they need. Wendell, back to what you were saying. We don't really care if you don't really want it. It's what we need right now. This is life or death for us. So yeah, I'm
Yes.
gonna take. I understand I have a 6 hour pageant. I'm gonna take 30 minutes of my 6 hour pageant and intermission. And if y'all want to go out there and drink or go out there and do whatever, but I'm gonna invite this company in who is going to sponsor, who is going to donate money to this pageant, because it's a push and a pull, right? And so they're going to
Mhm.
donate money for us to have this panel up here to talk about civics, to talk about the current state of this country. And so I think, and that's just an example, but I think stuff like that, we have to bring it there. I think it's perfect that there are members of the pageant community who bring um who bring their political activism to their talents. I love that.
Mhm.
I love it. I did
Mhm.
it. My talent was always spoken word. When I won Renaissance, it was a spoken word talent. It was rooted in black liberation, rooted in it. And I just believe in that totally, because that's the only way sometimes our people are going to hear. I frown on people who criticize this. This is going off a little bit. I'll make this point and I'm gonna leave it on. I frown on people who criticize, like when we do gospel numbers at pageants. Sometimes for people who need that, that's the only exposure they may have to gospel music. Why? Because some of them can't go to church. Some of them don't feel comfortable going to church. So when they see somebody like a Dominique doing a gospel number, they may feel comfortable. They may get something that they really need from that. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
I'll get off my
Mhm.
soapbox about that, because I've been wanting to say that for the longest. That irritates me
I
when I see people criticize
Me
gospel
too.
numbers. There are people,
yeah.
even though that's not the space that I'm in, I'm on a different journey, but there are people who are on that journey who need that. And the only place that they can get it is from one of us in the pageantry community.
Mhm.
And we need to embrace that. Now, I'm not
Amen.
for competition purposes, that's totally different. But I'm talking about when we're doing show, our show numbers,
Yeah.
let people do gospel, man. We have this thing here in New Orleans called I Drag. And these young people, these are young people who have never won a title or anything. They did gospel numbers the other week. This was a few weeks ago. We call it Inspiration Night. It's one of the episodes. They did gospel numbers. And when I tell you, it was a church service in that bar. That wasn't for me. because that is not my journey. But to see that, and for me to be able to at least, feel that energy and give off that positive energy to those young people who needed that, it was amazing, because they don't have churches to go to, because their churches are not affirming, and their parents don't support them, and the communities they live in, when they're not in our community, does not support them. And so we have to make sure that we give them what they need when they're here.
Dale also
Thank you
spoke
so
to
much.
Dale. You spoke
Go
to
ahead.
the concept of those, like the concepts being already baked into their minds. I think another thing that we need to do, because what's causing a lot of those concepts is misinformation. So we have to get to a point where we can start to combat and counter this misinformation in real time, not just saying what they're, or that's a lie, but we have to bring tangible receipts, to the argument, so that we say, no, they're lying, that's misinformation, because here are the facts, and we lay the facts out for those individuals. If like you said, if you tell the same lie over and over and over again, like those are seeds that are being planted, and even if it's not truth to it, they'll start to believe those things unless we continue to counter those measures. And I think that's something that has affected us in like the last 2 cycles, and like until we start to engage in that, and sometimes it could be a bit uncomfortable, just because you have, again, some people who just want to be right, and some people who are what I call willfully ignorant, but we have to do that. We have to call people out. And I actually was speaking to a promoter from a system that I've been considering competing for, and they was like, Ken, why do you even bother? Why do you continue to speak out when you know that these people just gonna feel how they want to feel? I feel like that's the reason that we're in the position we're in now, because a lot of the elders of the community have just like, oh, they hard-headed, they want to do what they want to do, and they just give up on trying to teach them anything. So even if it falls on deaf ears, I may be planting a seed by saying what it is that I'm saying. We have to be intentional about calling out the bullshit.
Yes. So I know that when Dale's at a party, and we don't want to hold everyone too long, but what I would like for all of you to do, and it's really funny, I'm the only girl amongst some very handsome, knowledgeable men. So
we brought the big guns out. I
hope that you all will join us for our next session. We're going to wrap this up. We have about 3 minutes before we reach the 2 o'clock, the 2-hour mark. I would like for each of you to give some homework and a challenge to everyone listening today based off of the things that we have talked about. I want you to give them some homework and a challenge as we prepare to meet again. I don't know when we're going to do our next roundtable, because I definitely want to do this leading up to the midterms, and I hope that all of you will continue to participate. But for each of you, I want you to just go around the table and just give them some homework and issue them a challenge. Whoever wants to go first.
Okay. I guess the homework would be to find out what is going on in your local city. Not find out the good, but find out the bad, and find out what has been done to try and fix the bad, and then have a conversation at work or with your family or with your friends about what you found out, so that they will hopefully become intuitive and want to find out more about it themselves. And then you give them the same challenge.
Okay, I'll go next. Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, a challenge for me is that the group of people that you're hanging with, that you go to the bars with, that you go to their houses and play cards, and whatever you do, make sure that they're registered to vote. You can go to vote.gov. You hold your friends accountable, and when it's time to go to the polls, hold them accountable again. If you have to pick them up, provide rides or bus money or Uber rides, I implore you to challenge all of your friends and the people that you hang with to do that.
Okay. The homework that I would give is to first, again, make sure that you're registered to vote. Closer to the elections, I'll be reminding people again to check their registrations to make sure that they're still registered to vote and they have not been purged from voter rolls for stupid reasons because you have two residents and you may primarily live in one that you're registered in, but you're not there all the time. It's a million things that they are doing, and we saw that in Georgia like a few times where they would purge the rolls. We're also 279 days away from midterm elections. The other thing is the homework for us who are already actively in this space. I believe that we need to start to prepare our communities for what an election cycle looks like with the potential of ICE being deployed to certain cities during those particular times. I believe that that's going to be something. I think I just feel this way, and I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I believe that the reason that they're allowing ICE to run rampant in a lot of these cities is because they're testing the waters to try to intimidate us out of voting during the election times. Yep. By countering people, in engaging us in ways that make us feel unsafe. And so, us just making sure that we give people countermeasures, like if they are approached by ICE or if there is a situation where they don't feel safe, like just by going out and voting in groups. That is one of the reasons that you had souls to the polls that the churches did, because again, if it's multiple people who are experiencing this intimidation and it's documented, we have more rights and more things that we can do in the courts to extend voting hours and to just basically provide a means for our votes to be counted. So that's the homework that I would have for the community, and then the homework that I would have for us who are already doing the work.
Okay, Mr. Cole.
I will. So my homework for those in the community would just be to I would implore you to look at the separation of powers, because a lot of times I hear people making uninformed comments about why didn't Joe Biden do this? Why isn't Congress doing this? And I think it's important for us to understand the logistics and the functionality of Congress, of the legislative, the executive, and the judicial branch, and how they check one another, right? And so that's my homework for everyone. I don't think I have to give that homework to anybody on this call, but that's my homework for our community. My challenge is simple, and I think everybody hinted on this either as homework or a challenge. If you are not registered to vote, register to vote. If you are registered to vote, bring someone to register or help someone register, right? Because I mean, that's the way we're going to do this. That's the way we're going to get out of this quandary that we're in. This this cyclical, perpetual motion that we're in right now. We're going to have to add voters to the rolls, those who are eligible to vote, add them to the rolls, and those who have not really been engaged, have simple conversations with them. It doesn't have to be lofty conversations. You don't have to use terminologies that you've heard on here, but just have simple conversations with them. And if you need guidance, seek someone on this call out, to help you kind of develop a plan of how to have those conversations, maybe in your barbershop, in your beauty salon, in your church. And so that's my challenge.
You muted. Dominique,
you muted.
I muted. Oh, sorry, y'all. Pardon me. Oh my goodness. I was just running my mouth. And the only thing that I want to just add to that is just, care enough about yourself or the people that you say that you love to get involved.
Yeah.
Because, and we say it all the time that, you can say that you don't do politics, but by default, politics will do you.
Yes.
So please engage yourself. And if you enjoy the freedoms that you have, please, by all means, on whatever level it may be, start from the beginning. Go to a library and go check you out a ninth grade civics book and read up on this process. But gentlemen, I cannot
Dominic,
thank you enough.
can I plug these 5 things right quick?
Absolutely.
These are 5 books, y'all, that I have read personally, and in for the audience, if y'all can. Number one,
Can you put
how
them? Can
to
you put them in the comments,
I,
Mr. Cole? Can you
yes,
put them
I
in the
can.
comments so that? Okay,
Yeah,
absolutely. Thank you.
okay,
Go
I'll
ahead.
do that.
No, 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 no,
Um,
no, no. Go ahead and do
okay,
that. Do it verbally.
so
Yes.
how to be an anti-racist by Abraham Kendi, that's number one, right? Number two, Black people invented everything. This book is riveting, honestly, about the contributions we have made as Black people that we have not been told about. Number three is White Fear by Roland Martin, which
Have
goes
it.
with my number four, White Fragility. The two of these together are absolutely amazing. And then my very favorite, y'all have to read it, Black as Fuck History. Please, if you have
Reading that
not
now.
read
I
this,
love that.
if
Oh, I
you
gotta
have
get this
not read
one.
it, please
It's
get this
amazing.
book. I have some of my frat brothers reading it right now, and when I tell you, the conversation we have about this book is amazing. So yeah, we need to preserve this type of history because they don't want us to know these things. But when our people tell us the stories and the integrity and the history of who we are, we need to listen. Yeah.
I'm gonna
I
be hitting
love
you
that.
up. You
Oh
got to
my.
join our book club.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes. You all have exceeded my expectations, and I hope that you will
Yes, man.
continue on this journey. I think you are the voices that the people need to hear from. And so I hope that you will continue to do this with us. I cannot thank you enough for giving of
Yes. Thank
yourselves.
y'all so
Thank
I
much.
don't,
you.
I don't,
Thank
I
you for
don't,
this.
I don't have enough money and I can't sell enough pussy to pay you, but I just appreciate
Sex work is work.
Yeah.
but I cannot tell you just how empowering just being here in your presence. I mean, Black kings are important, and you guys have definitely displayed that tonight. Thank you all so much, and we will
Thank you so
definitely be
much.
in touch to talk about another tentative date that we would love to, because I think we've got to move into this current administration for our
Mhm.
next conversation, and then how we need to move forward amidst everything that we're going through. Thank you, gentlemen, so much. I cannot tell you how
Thank
much
you
I
so
Thank
appreciate
much.
it.
y'all
I
for the
love
invitation.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Trent. Thank you,
much.
Dominique.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you
all.
so much, guys.
Thank you. Well, Mr. Simmons,
Oh yeah.
I thoroughly
That was so good.
enjoyed myself tonight. I
Those
thoroughly
men can
enjoyed
talk,
myself
baby. They're
tonight.
very knowledgeable
Baby,
about what's going
baby.
on. Even Dore got in here and started shooting her gun. And then she put that clip in that AK-47 and she didn't stop shooting that motherfucker until she went into the show. Listen, it was so good, so informative. These types of conversation, are very important. I hope anybody who didn't catch it tonight can go back and watch it. Um, Listen, I thoroughly enjoyed those young men.
It was amazing. And but once again, we
Thank you,
have
Trey
got to do
Son.
more.
Thank you, Christopher.
We've got to do more than just talk about the next pageant or talk
Thank
about the next
you.
gay pride. Talk more
Yes.
about than just who has the biggest meat. No, we've got to do
Yes.
more than that. This is
Thank you,
this is
Bishop.
this is important. And as I become older, and even as I'm competing for my contest, I plan to use moving forward. I plan to use any platform that I'm involved in
Yes.
to
Yes.
do or say something to empower our people.
That's
Not
it.
that I don't love all people, but I'm really concerned about the plight of my people. And so when I don't say something, even when it's uncomfortable conversations and I don't say anything, have I really done
Mm-hmm.
my community justice? So I have to
Yeah.
challenge myself to be that one, even at the risk of somebody being mad at me or hating me for whatever it is that I'm doing. You're just going to have to be that. You can just stop speaking
Yeah.
to me, whatever the case may be, but you cannot
Yeah.
say that I did not do everything that I could to show that I cared.
That's 100%. 100%. It's such a
Thank
needed
you,
conversation.
Bishop Alfonso. Thank you, thank you, thank you. He said he asked his congregation to tune in.
Come on,
Thank you,
Bishop
thank you, thank
Jones.
you.
Okay,
Oh my
okay.
goodness. All right. Because I would
Thank y'all
really
for
love
supporting.
also, with that being said, I would love to do a round table with faith leaders because reflecting back on what Mr. Cole said. Mr. Cole was saying that a lot of people don't feel comfortable being in the church spaces, or they don't feel that they're loved in those spaces. So I think it would be really empowering to have some faith leaders to come in and to talk about that issue, because that's something else I think that a lot of people in our community grapple with. And so I would really love to address that as well. So
Thank you,
yeah,
Tony.
thank you, Christopher.
Crystal
We
Iman, baby.
doing
That's
what we
EOY.
can for the people, Mr. EOY. So, but my brother, my king, my baby daddy,
Yeah,
listen,
yeah.
I love you, and I am so
I love you.
grateful for you. And this is where I feel that this is where I feel we need to be, and I think we're here at the right place at the right time.
I do too. I do too. I do too. We got more pressing issues that we want to talk about. Like you said, we like to go beyond the filter with everything. Like this is, so much is at stake right now. Our freedom, the things that we enjoy the most. It can be taken away. Like they out here just shooting, killing people willy nilly, right? And they're
Mm-hmm.
being justified for it. And the very thing that we have that we just take for granted is driving down the street. You know, going to the store. There's whatever is at stake right now, and we got to get very serious about this thing. And I know people may get tired of talking about this. And like I always say, when you ain't talking about mess, the people ain't coming. But this has to be said. It has to be talked about. And we're gonna do that job. We're gonna do that job. And thank you for the ideal of it all. When you called me, I was so excited about it. And I feel like the right people was on this call tonight, and they did their thing. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, Bishop. I'll be inboxing you because that's something that we need to do.
Yeah,
I
we're
think
gonna
that
do this
people need a word. People need a word from
maybe once a
God, and
month.
we need men like you to come in and to let us all know that that we are loved, and no matter what walk of life we come from. So most definitely we'll be in touch with that. But yes, definitely once a month, Trent. I'm definitely on board with that.
Yeah.
Because once again, I think that of all the one, and I've enjoyed every episode that we've had, but I think that of all the ones that we've done, I feel that this one has been the most impactful, and I think that this one will really reach farther than anything else that we've ever done. So most definitely, I want to continue on this trajectory.
Yes. Thank y'all again for watching and tuning in to Beyond the Filter. We're here every Thursday at 9, 8 Central. The support is overwhelming, and we love y'all. We thank y'all. Shout out to Wendell. Shout out to Del Rio. Shout out to
Mhm.
Kendall. Shout out
Yes,
to Ray Saunders. Shout out to you,
yes.
Dominique. Shout out to
Shout
me.
out to you, Trent Sims. Shout out to you, Trent Simmons.
Nicole Love
Because
was
I
supposed
mean,
to join us tonight, but Nicole had an engagement that she forgot about, and she's one of our politic friends too. So, just for her willingness to want to come on, thank you for that. And yeah, what you finna say, Dominique? I'm sorry.
oh, I was just about to just say, I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get to sleep because I'm kind of on a high after this conversation. I just,
Yeah.
and just like,
And
Prince
listen,
was
you
just
had
saying,
way more topics. You had way more topics we didn't even get to, because once the ebb and flow go, it starts to flow, and it's so much to be said that you can't do it in one segment, or we would have had people up all night long. But we still got more topics and more things to talk about. There's so much we didn't hit on. We didn't
we
hit on
do.
the LGBTQ community and how we're affected. It's so much we didn't hit on, but this is a start. This is something we're going to incorporate along with the other interviews that we do with people. So keep tuning in, y'all. Keep tuning in.
Please
And
do. Please do.
and make sure y'all subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Beyond the Filter 25. YouTube.com/at Beyond the Filter 25. Make sure y'all subscribe to our channel. Y'all can find all the old interviews that we've done, and I got to add some more to them to the site. But yeah, you can catch us on that. I got the ticker going at the bottom, so make sure y'all register to vote. It is very serious. It's very serious. We got to vote. We got to register. A lot of people even think about it though. And you can even go on, they'll tell you where you voting at, what area, what church, what community center, whatever school you voting at. They'll tell you on the website and everything. So make sure you do that.
Please.
There was once upon a time we didn't have these freedoms to vote. We have them now. You know, exercise that right. It's all right. Because when they take it from you, people don't do stuff till they take it from them. They don't even want it till somebody take it away from them. Then they want it, you know.
Yes.
Thank you, Bishop.
No. I completely agree. And we've never been in a position to where we've had our rights and they're trying to take them away. You know, and just think about how a child reacts when they've had a toy for so long, and then you take the toy away and you see the tantrum that they throw. I mean, that's basically what this is like. You know, we've enjoyed these freedoms, but I think that it also, you know, I think it should also, you know, challenge us to think about the freedoms that we have that we take for granted.
Yes.
That we don't
doing these pageants and stuff. We do our pageants and then we do our shows and stuff. What if we can't do that no more because of this administration or whatever? You know, like we have to really think about that thing. Speaking of Dominique doing Continental Elite. Yes.
Continental Elite. I thought I was done. I thought I was done. I still have some in me. I have a place in history that I want to put myself in.
Yeah.
And so I said, as a mom, you know, I've put Sean first because I felt that that's what I was supposed to do. You know, all the things that I did or did not do, you know, would affect what his future looked like, how he thought of himself and all those things. So I would try to dedicate myself to that. But now, you know, it's time for me to think about what I want, and I don't want to close out this chapter, which I know is going to be very soon. But when I close out this chapter of my life, I want to say everything that I wanted to do, I at least made an attempt to do those things. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm glad you're on this journey with me. It's gonna be a time. Come April. We're gonna be doing more than hunting Easter eggs.
Hey, Carlos Dupree. What's up, Carlos? You got to give up.
Definitely.
Meet us in Memphis too, February the 15th for Vogue International. Or International Vogue. I always say Vogue International. Carlos Dupree and Infinity will be relinquishing their title. Memphis, Tennessee, February 15th. Also, Stanisha Dupree and Jalen Bonet will be relinquishing the Plus Division part of it. So I'll be there, Judge. And Dominique was supposed to be there, but she
Thank you, Bishop.
And that's okay.
I cannot listen.
That's okay. You got to go get them.
Pageantry is expensive. I got, you know, and
Kendall. I'm definitely reaching out to Raquel Herring. I wanted Raquel to come on and pray one time. The community was in such an uproar about some things, but I reached out to her too late. But I'm gonna get her on here too. Yeah.
Please do. Let's definitely
and Bishop,
do that.
I'll see you in Memphis and make sure you come speak. Dominique won't be there, but that's okay. I'm hoping Judge my baby mama.
Yeah, I wish I could.
Yeah, well,
I forgot that it was the same weekend.
Yes. It's still, you know, everything will go good though. But yeah. You got any closing remarks?
I feel inspired. I feel very inspired.
Me too.
And yeah, I feel, you know, because there was a lot of anxiety going, you know, just over the past.
What Chris said. Chris said he had Chris Waymon said he had anxiety too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but I think just hearing sometimes just hearing the voices of other people, just reminds you of the power that we actually do have.
yeah, we do have
We,
power.
we've just got to believe in that. We've got to stand on that, and not to mean it's going to be all smooth sailing.
Yeah,
There's still going to be
yeah.
some times that we're going to stumble, but we can make it to the finish line.
Oh,
We
we
really
going
can.
to. It has to. Because listen, I don't think God wants us going through this stuff. I just don't feel like He wants us to go through this. So it got to change. So I'm excited. I think our community is gonna get in line because we're gonna listen. We're gonna protest. You know,
Yes.
we're gonna
Hey,
campaign
hey,
this whole entire
yes.
time. We're gonna get the people knowing that hey, it's midterms coming up. Let's get to the polls. Like I'm like Doré. No one ever told me about midterms either. You know, I was
Hmm.
supposed to have graduated in 1998, but they didn't tell me about that.
Right.
I didn't start
And
voting until I was well in my 30s.
people
So
can't do what they don't know. People can't do what they don't know about.
see,
So,
you don't know what you don't know.
it's our job to go ahead and, equip them with this knowledge and challenge them to put it into practice. Because, it doesn't do any good to have the knowledge and you're not using it. So
And that's it. And you can't
then
spread it.
and
We got to spread.
and
We
then
got to
there's
spread
that.
it like they spread them STIs, honey. We got to spread this knowledge.
Yeah.
we
Trent, like
got
they
to spread this.
spread what?
We got to spread it like they spread the STIs, honey.
Yeah,
I'm
no, but
telling
no,
you,
and as I'm
because we need
laughing
a cure for
about
this.
that, it's the truth. But
The world need
as
a
I'm
penicillin.
laughing, yes, there you go.
The world needs a penicillin. This motherfucker is infected.
Hmm.
For real. For real. The American dream don't even seem like the American dream no more. Like people paying too much for rent. Do you know what rent is in Atlanta? When I got to Atlanta, I had a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom for $750.
Hmm.
You'll be hard pressed to find anything in Atlanta right now. If you find for $750, you might be staying in the storage unit.
Yeah.
You
No,
know,
no. Yes. The housing crisis, which is what I work in at the agency where I work in, the housing crisis is just absolutely catastrophic, and communities are growing so fast
yeah,
that affordable housing is not available. And what a lot
it's
of these
not
corporate
available.
companies, they realize that. And so they're coming in, buying up all of these affordable housing properties. They
Mhm.
just throw some new tile on the floor.
Yes,
They say
girl.
they've
Some
they've
linoleum,
upgraded it, and then they raise the
a
rent
coat of paint. Now
$100.
you paying $2,000 a month for a piece of shit. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
And the housing
Yeah.
market, like buying homes and stuff. When I first moved in my neighborhood, it said starting at 200s. Now you look at where it's starting at 400s. I'm like, these people ain't got the
Mhm.
fucking money to pay for that.
They do. And then
Car
and
prices,
not to
everybody in
mention,
so much
go ahead.
debt. Everybody in so much credit card debt. The average new car is $50,000. You remember cars used to be 15,000 for just a regular little car,
Mhm.
20,000. Now entry level cars are 50,000 fucking dollars. That's an $800, $900 car note. People are swimming in debt. Some shit got to
They are.
change.
They are. And then and people just, they can't afford to live where they work.
Okay,
And
Teresa.
and they're not even increasing, the income,
That's it.
what people can earn. They're not raising the money that people can make in order to keep up with the increases
They are not.
in
Everything. Let me tell you something.
everything.
I stay in the house when I can because let me tell you, um, I always tell me and my friend got a joke like, man, outside too expensive. You have to spend so
Mhm.
much money just going out. Like you gotta go gas up the car. You gotta go do this. You gotta go do that. You gotta go do it. You gonna spend so much money while you out. You just get home, your head start hurting. You know what I'm
And be
saying?
and be mad, and because you'd be like, why don't I just keep my ass at home?
I just
That's
stay
what
my
you be.
motherfucking ass at home.
That's what
You
you
hear
be
me?
saying to yourself. I should have just
It's a
stayed at home.
it's
Goodness.
a it's a mess. I'm not lying. I'm not lying. But again, thank y'all so much. We held y'all long enough. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to this very important, 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 important election political panel we just had. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'm
Thank you
so
so
pleased
much.
with the people that came on. I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased with the entire thing. Yeah. I'm looking forward to more of these, like you said, Dominique. And thank y'all.
Thank y'all. We don't know
Thank
what
y'all
else to
so much.
say,
We don't know what else to
but
say.
but we will definitely be letting you all know when our next one is. And I don't know if this platform has the capabilities. Does it have the capabilities to take live calls so people can call in with
Well,
questions that they may have?
well, you know, I got this thing over here that I got my mic hooked up to. It can do all of that.
Thank you, Marcus. Let's do that. So then maybe as we
Thank you, Mog.
approach
You know,
ending, hey,
Mog, you know, every
my
now and
baby,
then I got to test myself and see can I still play with them cosmetics. You know, see,
honey,
making sure I ain't lost it.
my baby daddy hadn't had me done, honey.
Baby, them
Just
children
wait till
talking about that for
April.
days. You hear me?
They and they're still talking about it. So,
Wait
but
till nationals,
but
honey.
keep baby. But you guys continue to tune in. There's going to be so much more coming. We're going to have. I have a friend
Thank you, Mark.
that's a psychiatrist. We're going to bring him in to talk about mental health.
Yes.
And so, and if we can get the
Love
calling,
that.
the ability
You
to
know, Del
call.
Rio was saying that he's a he work in mental
That's
health too. Did you
true.
hear him say that?
Yes, right. You're what? He sure did. So y'all just get ready because this is just the tip of the
Yeah,
iceberg. We're going to dive into what we feel the community needs. We have
yeah,
to invest in our own community, and this is our way
yeah,
of
yeah.
doing
You know,
that.
we know people like the mess, but beyond the mess, we got to get to some other shit too. Some deep shit that plagues and permeates our community in a way where, you know, we need some healing from some things and stuff, you know? So, yeah.
Yes, we do. So
All
here
right.
we come.
Look, here we go. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, Dominique. And it's always a
Thank
pleasure.
you.
I love our show. I love our show for real.
Oh my God, me too. Me too. I'm so I love it. I love it. Yeah, because it's and then I'm gonna shut up because I'm so long winded. It's always nice to be challenged
It
and
is.
to challenge yourself to do other things and I think that this space is giving me the opportunity to continue to challenge myself to be something more than I was yesterday
Yeah.
and I know that I don't want to take this pseudo celebrity that I have for granted. I've been
That's
granted some
good.
opportunity to, I've had the opportunity to do some wonderful things representing some systems, and now I want to put those things to use.
I know that's right. All right.
But
Thank y'all
anyway,
so much.
I'll shut
I ain't
up.
gonna thank y'all anymore. I've been doing all this goddamn thing.
But we
We out
love
of here.
y'all.
We out of here.
We
Love
out
you
of
for
here.
free. We'll see y'all next Thursday. We don't know who we got next. We'll figure it out. But anyway, see y'all next week, next Thursday. We'll see
See
y'all
y'all next
Wednesday.
week.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Yes, we'll see y'all next Wednesday. Bye-bye.